Welcome to Where Does Food, the food history podcast where we podcast about the history of food. I am your host, Tim, and with me is your other host.
What's up, you guys? I'm Elle.
And today, we're talking about the best clucking fast food item in the world, chicken nuggets.
Yes.
Do you like,
Chicken
so I got,
nuggets.
I got it,
Chicken guy, watch out.
yeah, I got, inspired by your pretzel episode, so I thought I'd throw in a couple of clucking and I think maybe I can tie a narrative and
Please, I'm so excited to see what happens with this. Okay, let's do it.
Do the whole
put that
nine.
on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
What a clucking good time.
What a clucking good time. WDF. L.
Tim,
Do you like chicken nuggets?
I love me some chicken nuggets.
And where's your favorite chicken nugget spot? What spot do you go to chow down on chicken nuggets? What's your preferred?
I'm about to cop out. Can we also include chicken tenders in this?
Hell no.
So God.
Chicken nuggies.
Chicken nuggies.
Okay.
McDonald's.
Okay, cool. Chicken tenders, if you want to add those, where are you going?
Oh, I'm about to go so obscure on your ass.
Okay,
there's a restaurant in Knoxville, Tennessee called Aubrey's.
Okay.
And the last time I went there, they had these fantastic honey sriracha chicken tenders.
Okay.
So good. The heat hits just as well. There's sweetness from the honey. Oh, so good. And it's still nice and crispy.
You're not giving me what I want.
Okay, I know. I'm so sorry. What do you need from me? You should have you got to let me know for the bit ahead of time.
No, you're good. No, you're fine. You're giving me exactly what I want. I'm just kidding. I just like that. It's like, what's your favorite spot to get like a chicken nugget? And you're like, there's this really obscure place that I never go to, but I've been to a couple of times, and they made the best chicken tenders. And it's
I could go back
it's
anytime.
like, cool, man. Okay, my preferred, my go-to.
Slim chickens. Yes.
Slim chickens, okay. Slim chickens is good as fuck, dude. That's a good choice.
And they're dessert jars.
Yeah.
It's a great combo.
Yeah, no, Slim chickens is a good choice.
And they have a lot of, I feel like they have a good amount of sauce variety too.
Right.
And I like them because
they absolutely do. And their fucking spicy ranch is out of this world.
So good. And their fries are really good. And they legitimately will either toss your wings or they'll give you the sauce on the side. Yeah. It's not like a...
Yeah. Even though we're not talking specifically about wings, I'm so sorry, Slim Chickens is just a primetime place. If you guys ever get a Slim Chickens in your area, go. It's really good.
Oh, and they're open late.
Yeah, they got some really good shit. My spot, I am definitely a McNugget guy. I think they are far superior than the other fast food nuggets.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Tim, what's your go-to sauce?
I mean, honestly, McDonald's barbecue is just
my guy.
It's just great.
So good.
It's definitely good. But don't they have that like creamy buffalo now? And that shit is really good. Yeah, that shit's really prime time.
I'll clear that up.
Quality.
It's
quality. That's season 2's word. Quality, not prime time.
On the t-shirt.
I'm saying prime time because it's fight night, and I was just watching some fight night stuff, and so
solid fight night.
So once sports commentators start, so now it's all like prime time and like instead of quality, which is the word for season 2. All right, L, from 1 to 145 McDonald's menu items, what do you rank McDonald's nuggets? Yeah, they have 145 items. That might not be up to date because 2020 did a number, but like...
That's fair. No. I think that's fair. 145?
1 to 145
Dude,
McDonald's menu items.
I fucking love me some McDonald's. I feel like that's too high. So we're going to go a solid like 90.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nuggets fall on...
I love the nuggets.
Yeah, nuggets are 90. It's a little bit over half.
Yeah.
But we're not all the way there yet. You're approaching like the 70% range, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think it's solid.
Yeah. That's a really, let's see if we can raise it.
I don't know.
If we can lower it. Obviously, McDonald's is important in this story.
Sure.
Because it's a fucking nugget. Let's go. Let's
do it.
Let's deep dive into the deep fryer.
That was so good.
Cook for about 2.5 minutes and then pull it out and then send it to our stupid fucking faces. Here we go.
Yo.
Hey guys, welcome to the ad section. I'm here to tell you real quick about Anchor by Spotify. You may have heard us talk about Anchor at the end of our episodes, is because Anchor is the platform we use to distribute our podcasts. It's totally free. It helps us distribute our podcasts to different platforms. That's how we're on Apple Podcasts. That's how we're on Google Podcasts, CastBox, you name it. They've helped us do that. You can record directly on the app, on the webpage. So you don't even need a super fancy setup. It's super straightforward, totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started on your podcast or whatever you like to do. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the episode. All right, so super straightforward. We're going to talk about how the word chicken and nugget came. I'm kidding. That whatever. Chicken and nugget, we don't need to know where those words come from.
Okay. Fair.
So the simple story of the chicken nugget, there was an agricultural scientist, Robert C. Baker, and he invented the chicken nugget in a lab at Cornell University.
I'm sorry, Mr. Baker created.
Yes.
Okay.
Trust me, that did not fall.
Just wanted to make sure I heard that correctly.
Yeah. So Robert C. Baker, he invented the chicken nugget in a lab at Cornell University in 1963. So yes.
Wait, 1963?
1963.
Okay.
Chicken nuggets do come from a lab, just in case you were concerned.
In case you had any question about it before.
They are absolutely from a lab.
This is why people say Ivy Leagues are important.
Yeah.
The contribution.
Do you think he was a legacy student? He couldn't have 100%. Been. He actually did something good. I'm kidding. If you're a legacy student doing a really good job, awesome. So Baker wanted to mold boneless ground chicken and bread it.
Okay.
Yeah. He just was, I guess, fascinated.
Sure. I mean, it's
also,
good, though.
Yeah, also, like, it had something to do with, like, chicken distribution and things like that. He was coming at it from, like, the mind of, like, how can we get this, to more people, essentially. And so that's what his whole thing was. And the purpose of breading it was to make it stay together through the frying and then the freezing and then the frying.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's essentially how it, ended up being mass produced. I mean, you walk into the grocery store today and you can find 1,000 different varieties of chicken, not chicken, kind of chicken,
yep.
And they're all in nugget form.
Yep.
So
that's funny. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Apparently, instead of it being a nugget form originally, he actually made chicken sticks, which
like kebabs.
No, like just like the Burger King chicken fries. That essentially he made that. Yeah,
Shut
back
up.
in 1963.
All right.
And apparently, and this is just, I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay. I like where this is going.
But he started like getting the credentials or the nickname of the George Washington Carver of chicken.
Nope.
Guys, it is February, and I felt dirty saying
I was
that.
literally about to be like, per this release schedule, it's still Black History Month.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah, no. So Robert C. Baker, he's not that.
Is it because they have 3 names? Is that they're like, that's why?
Listen.
Shut up.
Cool. I'm glad he did some shit with chicken in a fucking mill. That's awesome. But buddy, slow your fucking roll.
Breaded the chicken.
Slow your roll.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Yeah, so that happened. Baker didn't patent his recipe.
Wow, because he was a man of the people.
Yeah, and instead he sent it freely to hundreds of companies. I believe the number is anywhere from 400 to 600. That's what like the rumored number is.
This was a good man.
Yeah.
As far as like food goes.
He didn't give himself that nickname.
No.
As far as I've read.
Okay.
So like, he's a good dude.
He was a good dude.
He didn't patent anything. He was just trying to do something for mass production purposes. And then some weird people were like,
wait a second.
He's the George Washington Carver of chicken. Oh, okay.
It's so cringy.
Yeah. So that's kind of the simple history. And that's the podcast. Welcome to the end of Where Does Food? Yeah. No, but I kind of wanted to go further. I mean, chicken nuggets, that's a modern food. 1963.
Absolutely.
It's a modern food. We don't have history that's just like chock full of things.
Right.
And so I wanted to kind of give some historical context because we didn't always really eat chicken. Like Americans didn't consume chicken on such a fucking high clip.
Okay.
And there's a good amount of reasons why. I wanted to kind of dive into a couple of those. Essentially, we are going to take a trip back to World War II.
Okay.
We could go back to World War I. Pretty much like the two big wars obviously impacted American culture, food supply, and all that shit a lot. We've talked a little bit about it. how that stuff has impacted our food and our food distribution and our diets overall. So on January 30th, 1942, the Emergency Price Control Act granted the Office of Price Administration the authority to set price limits and ration food and other commodities to make sure there was proper distribution of scarce resources.
Wow.
Yeah, it was full-on government takeover of the...
prices.
Yeah. Which is, I don't know if that would ever happen today. That would...
Never.
My goodness.
Could you imagine the uproar?
I would actually almost love to see that attempt today. I really would. I would sit back and just revel in all the Confederate flags that would just start lining the streets.
Confederate flags.
Well, that's what it would be. All the other well-balanced individuals would be like, oh, okay, well, we got to do it. It's good for the war.
We got to do it. Yep. Effort for the war.
Effort for the war. Yeah.
Yikes.
I'm painting wide brushstrokes to be edgy. By spring that year, sugar couldn't be bought without a government food stamp.
Ooh, okay.
Or food coupon.
Yeah.
By March, 43 meat, cheese, fats, canned fish, canned milk, and other foods were added to the list of rationed food.
Ooh, that's a lot of foods right there.
So essentially in a year, a good majority of these foods were needing to be purchased in some way with coupons, and they were all rationed. During this time, every American was allowed to war ration books. Okay. Yeah, you were allowed to get a ration book, and it was filled with stamps, and those could be used along with cash to buy restricted items. 91% of the U.S. population registered to receive them.
Wow. That's staggering when you think about
insane.
I guess this is World War II, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good amount of people. Wow. Yeah.
So the system itself was a point system. And
interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So that changed at the hands of the OPA, the Office of Price Administration.
I said OPA.
Due to wartime circumstances. So it kind of changed all the time. And apparently this system was super complicated, and it just sort of devolved into bartering amongst people.
So we were just going back to barter and trading. I love that.
Citizens
as it should be.
This is the worst.
This is the way better system. Yeah.
And they just started bartering.
Hell yeah. To the people.
This is when chicken consumption actually started to go up.
Okay.
It started to become more available. Red meats and stuff were, that was way more popular. So it was rationed more for soldiers, which we talked a little bit about in our ice cream episode, that we did ration certain foods for soldier uses. So it wasn't necessarily that, the industry completely disappeared. It was that it was just taken over for a very specific reason. And red meat was one of them.
Yeah. For the war, right? Yeah, just across the board.
Yeah. Another thing that happened was late in the war, the War Food Administration, the WUFA, took control of massive poultry production area known as the Delmarva Peninsula, which spanned across Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia.
Get out of here. Okay.
Yeah, so they took pretty much control of most of that. Again, I think the number was up in the 95th percentile. They took control of all that production.
Yeah, okay.
But the war ended, and the demand for chicken
declined.
Yeah. Once the war ended and all the things started to lift, it was like, okay, well, we're going to go back to eating what we like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, here's a fun fact about chicken. At the time, it was mostly sold whole. So whole chickens were the things that were sold. It wasn't butchered. It wasn't a butchered bird. It was a small bird. So they just sold it as a whole bird. So that does a couple things. One, prices is probably going to be a little bit higher. You're not going to be able to buy individual cuts, which you could save money on. Two, it's going to be for larger families. A single person doesn't want to buy a whole chicken. Typically it'd be a couple or a family would buy one or two whole chickens. So it just limited who was buying chicken.
Makes sense, yeah.
It limited who was buying chicken, and that's why the demand just kind of dipped off as well. There was another thing as well. I mean, as we know, women didn't really go back to the home.
Yeah. Shout out Rosie.
Which means nothing. Men can cook, dude.
Apparently.
No, but apparently that did kind of, once the family started to become like a bigger workforce, essentially, it caused time restraints and things like that. And I think we all kind of understand that now in the modern era of like, I don't have time to do shit. That's because you're being exploited.
Every time.
So Robert C. Baker invented that wonderful little chicken stick. And again, he allowed what was previously whole chicken to then be mass produced into smaller bites. And that made it more accessible. He actually had other inventions as well. He made chicken hot dogs. He was one of the first people to make chicken hot dogs.
Okay.
He was also one of the first people to make pork hot dogs, interestingly enough.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. It was always beef for a while, but now there's, turkey and pork and chicken, and he was definitely like one of the innovators. He was the George Washington Carver.
I'm leaving. Have fun. No, this guy was such an innovator, though.
He really was doing a lot. He created chicken cold cuts.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, buddy.
We like cold cuts
chicken
over
cold cuts, man. He also created chicken hash, which I don't think people really eat hash anymore, but hash is fucking delicious, and we should bring it back. Like I said, his biggest contribution was just portion size, and that's why you can eat chicken in any size now. However, that doesn't solve the fact that people just didn't want to eat chicken.
Yeah,
again, if consumption just dropped the moment red meat rations were lifted, that means people didn't want to eat chicken. They wanted to eat their steak. That's an American thing.
And I think a part of that too is that if you've been told that you can only eat certain amount of foods, and then all of a sudden you don't have to eat them anymore, you're gonna just immediately go for those foods you weren't able to eat beforehand.
Yeah, it's human nature. So we had that issue of when did Americans want to start eating chicken all of a sudden? We liked red meat, so what happened there? Well, in 1977, Congress released dietary goals telling Americans to eat less red meat.
Here we go.
This ushered in a wave of fear surrounding fat and fatty foods such as beef, butter, and milk.
Wow.
Welcome to the first wave of low-carb or low-fat dieting, everyone. It's probably wasn't the first wave, but yeah, this is a moment for chicken, essentially. I think everyone knows it's like, oh yeah, you got to stay away from red meat. You got to stick to poultry. It's got lower cholesterol. Fun fact, Americans actually eat so much extra chicken and poultry now that cholesterol levels haven't lowered because we eat more of it.
Oh, get out of here.
We eat more chicken to the extent that our cholesterol levels are pretty much the same.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it doesn't
almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happens with any sort of diet food, right? Mm-hmm. I even do this. It's just like mental triggers. It's like if you see something is fat-free or sugar-free, you'll be like, "Oh, cool, I can eat this whole thing is going down."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whatever benefit you were supposedly getting from it, it usually gets negated by the sheer fact that you're eating more of it. You'll eat excess of something because you feel like you can.
Right.
And so essentially there's this big thing of like chicken is better for you. And then the way information passes and health information is misused and misstrued is like, oh, okay, cool. I can just eat this.
Eat a shit ton of chicken, you're fine. Yeah.
It's lower cholesterol. I don't even know how cholesterol works. And then you just fucking eat it. Which, by the way, humans produce cholesterol. Most mammals do. I believe most or all mammals do.
Interesting. I didn't know the other ones did. Yeah.
Yeah, we produce cholesterol. So eating, that's why we all can all get like higher cholesterol, is because we eat excess amounts of meat, which has cholesterol, which we don't need.
Sure.
And classic government, it's kind of shitty timing because chicken was becoming more processed, which is kind of what I've hit on as well, right? So we're eating more of it and it's becoming processed and fried. Fast food's kind of kicking off. It's been kicking off, really. There is nothing about the way chicken was being mass produced and available that equated to like better health, essentially. It really wasn't. I mean, and that's fine, whatever, who cares? You want to eat a chicken nugget? Eat a chicken nugget, bro. Like,
that's
have a good time. But it's definitely one of those things in history where it's like its desire to be consumed kind of gets pushed by a health narrative, and then that doesn't really mean anything though, because again, it wasn't necessarily the healthiest versions of chicken we were getting
in the first one, right?
Yeah, it wasn't plain boring grilled chicken. Right. Okay, we were getting salted up, sauced up, you know what I mean? Yep. Yeah, that's what we were getting.
Absolutely.
We were getting that saucy shit, and that's what we want. Enter the king.
Oh, the king.
McDonald's.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, McDonald's slides in.
Doing their thing.
Yeah, they slide in. They're wearing their jumpers. It's the 70s. You know, disco's hot. They're making it mainstream, which is the antithesis of disco to begin with. So McDonald's is going to help run that into the ground. No, I don't. Owner Ray Kroc wanted to develop a new menu item, and he wanted it to be a convenient alternative to beef. The chairman, Fred Turner, said it should be a boneless piece of chicken sold almost like fries.
Zing. Okay.
Yeah. So while McDonald's didn't end up doing the chicken fry, the Burger King did.
The Burger King did, yeah.
They were, that's what their idea was, right? They were thinking like, you know, it should be super easy to eat, accessible.
Grab and go.
Everyone, I don't know if everyone knows, but like a popular thing that is known is that before chicken nuggets, they had like onion nuggets.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Apparently they're pretty good.
Like, good fried onion ring, right?
Yeah, but they did it McDonald's style, so it was in nugget form. Yeah, like it was like diced up McDonald's onions that got, you know, battered and fried, like tempura fried into the nugget form. And honestly, really smart. The way that McDonald's produces things is like if they're getting onions and their onions are diced, that means they're receiving diced onions. You know, so it was just a way to also cut down costs. Like we don't have to do 2 different types of onions. We do 1 type of onion. And it's like, you know, it comes on burgers. It also comes in a nugget. Like,
that's so smart. Okay.
Yeah, McDonald's is really smart.
Ray knew what was going on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, really, really smart. So McDonald's hired Rene Arend. He was a chef that cooked for Queen Elizabeth II of England.
Wow. What a flex.
Yeah. Arend, yeah. Hey, come to McDonald's in America and fucking make something for us. Arend made a fried chicken breast in a sauce that corporate loved, but it couldn't be scaled. So essentially, he was too fancy.
I was going to say, not good for corporate. Yeah, they didn't like that.
He was too fancy. Yeah, they loved the taste. They were just like, we can't do anything with that. You know, we're not going to get our minimum wage because we don't want to pay them higher.
We can't pay them higher.
And honestly, we could if we could pay them lower, we would. We would. You know, but we're required the minimum. So yeah, they conceived of a chicken pot pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, love me some chicken pot pie though.
That never really went anywhere though. I mean, you know, corporate didn't love it as much. Sure. And then ultimately it was just like, yeah, this isn't really what we're trying to do. Again, we want something that is like fries, not a fucking hot magma bowl of bread and roux. You know what I mean? So
talk about the lawsuit on that one.
So McDonald's, they went on and hired Keystone Foods. Those guys made frozen burgers. Keystone Foods is essentially just a company that automated a lot of food processes, and they automated the chicken chopping and butchering process for McDonald's.
Okay.
Yeah, so McDonald's setting up their infrastructure essentially. Yep.
Wow.
And for the batter, they hired Gorton's, who is mainly known for their fish sticks.
Oh, fuck. No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they introduced a limited launch of the McNugget in 1981.
Okay.
With the help of Tyson Chicken. So they developed the process with a couple different companies.
Right.
And then Tyson Chicken provided the poultry for them.
Wow, it runs deep.
Yeah. They went nationwide in 83. So 2 years later, they go nationwide. And it was the only reason why they didn't start nationwide is because they didn't have the infrastructure in place. And they only went nationwide the moment they were able to.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I have an observation here? So 1963, Mr. Baker's like, hey, do you guys like nuggets?
Hey, do you guys like amalgamated chicken mass? Fried, frozen, and fried again?
And then 20 years later, quite literally,
yeah,
McDonald's is like,
here you go, world.
Here's your chicken McNugget, bitches.
Here's your McNugget.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is, again, I mean, obviously I know we're in the 20th century, but it's like, that's a pretty short amount of time for...
Yeah. And you want to talk about not missing, because like, now McDonald's, you know, they've been around so long that they've missed.
Absolutely.
They've missed a couple of things.
As companies have been around for a while, too.
The 90s was full of McDonald's misses.
It was, man.
It was just like, they were just throwing up all types of shit. And it was just
like
miss. Like the Archer Deluxe. Like what miss. Like they were doing all types of shit. But again, I think 90s McDonald's is a fucking piece in time in fuck. That might be an episode. Because I just feel like they were riding so high. They were just the biggest fucking food company or fast food company.
Easily.
They were global at that point. They just had so much money that they were just like, dude, we're the fucking golden arches. Ever, dude.
Yeah.
We can throw some shit at the wall. You know, turn the fan on high. I'm going to take a shit right on top of it and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? and that's essentially what they did. And it was a sight to behold. It really, and I think what's crazy about McDonald's is it really, and they've had decent years recently, but there was a stretch between 2010 and like 2015 where they were kind of losing money. They had like 3 or 4 years where they lost money in that time frame, which is really weird. It was a really weird time to like look at McDonald's and be like, they weren't going to go anywhere. Yeah, they were not in. There was no like, oh my God, they're going to shut down.
Right.
Oh my God, they're shutting down France. No, there was none of that. It was just like a weird moment of like, they really weren't the powerhouse that they used to be. It's like their sheen almost disappeared a little bit. And they tried a bunch of weird shit with like the chicken avocado club and like stuff like that. I don't know if you remember that stuff. I don't know if you remember McDonald's between 2010 and like 2016. Yeah. It was a very weird. It was a very weird McDonald's because you had this whole thing. Now I'm on a McDonald's rant.
I know, I love it.
You had this whole thing where we hated frozen burgers and we hated like all of a sudden.
I'm saying like all the shifts. Yeah.
The American conscience was like, what the fuck have we been eating for 50 years?
Yeah.
And like,
everyone did put the burger, like they put it out, see if it would rot and shit like that.
Yeah. 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 So
Supersize Me at one, I think came out.
Which is a total fucking, oh man, we could do an episode about that sham. Oh, you gained weight eating fucking 4 meals at McDonald's for a month straight after you supersized it almost every time? Holy fucking shit, buddy. Like, what the fuck? That wasn't an experiment. That was a well-known fact. Like,
they just want to eat McDonald's for a month.
We're trying, like, and then it was like the angle that McDonald's was like out to get you. So if they asked him if they wanted to supersize it, he would get. By the way,
yes,
them asking to supersize it is just the worker doing their job.
Right.
They're just upselling because they've been told by a corporate schmuck in a suit that they need to upsell.
Absolutely.
And they make a minimum wage and they could get paid lower if they wanted, but they can't legally. So they're just like doing their best. Like, I don't like. What a fucking stupid doc. Whatever. Moving on.
They like showed it in my health class.
Yes, it's very it's very stupid.
Quote unquote fears of
fast food. And who the fuck? Okay, never mind.
We'll go on a different. That's a different episode.
Holy shit!
That could be a different episode.
Well, maybe it isn't because we are talking about just kind of fast food, and and chicken nuggets are a fast food item. That's predominantly what they are. But yeah, there was this whole push and like fresh and
that's
early 2000s they turned to all white meat. I can't remember the specific year. I think I had it in my notes at one point, and then I felt like I was kind of losing track of like what I was trying to do, and here we are losing track.
Isn't that fun how that happens?
Yeah, but they went into all white meat at one point, and they arguably made them worse because dark meat is good as fuck.
Yes.
Don't know what to tell you.
Yes.
Like, it just, And
again, to your point, it's that same idea of, well, if it says low cal, low sugar, in theory, I can eat more of these things and not feel bad. And it's like, no, it's the same shit. But.
Yeah. McDonald's, they did a lot of stuff. They stopped frying their pies, started baking them.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
They just changed their whole thing. They stopped doing frozen patties. They now do like patties held at 32. So it's like technically they're like the kind of mild frozen. They're just not like permafrosted the way that they were at one point.
Sure.
They just did a bunch of different things. But that time frame from 2010 to 2016 was fun. They just did a bunch of like kind of misses.
I was going to say I feel like you're triggering my memory now because I feel like I remember that time they were just trying different things on the menu and seeing what would stick
all like fresh. The word fresh.
Yeah,
was just
a lot of lettuce
spray painted on their buildings. I felt like because they were just they were losing that. They were losing that culture war. But essentially, all they did was kind of dip off for a little bit, and then
everyone's like, "Fuck it, it's fine."
Yeah, and they did redo a couple things. Like I said, they stopped frying their pies. They went with fresh beef instead of like the perma-frozen beef. So they did change a couple of things, but they didn't like massively change what they are and what they do. I mean, their chicken nuggets are still molded lab concoctions that get par fried and then permafrosted and then sent to all their stores. Their McRib is still chopped up pieces of pork thrown together into a fucking like mold and then permafrosted and then sent. And then they take it and they put it on a press on the grill, and they put the salamander, which is like a big like press that gets attached to the grill, and they put it on there, cook it, and then they toss it in their fucking sauce, and they put it on a bun for you.
That's it.
Guys, that's what fast food is. None of that's weird. Just eat it.
It's a part of the process.
Yeah, just enjoy it. So yeah, that was McDonald's.
The McDonald's portion of the evening.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just to say again, in 83, they went nationwide. And of course, like I said, they were waiting to have the infrastructure. Right. And they fucking needed it.
Clearly.
You remember back in the day when they made, 5 years ago when they did the Szechuan thing, they brought the Szechuan sauce back.
Yeah.
Because of Rick and Morty, and people started stabbing each other over Szechuan sauce. Yeah. They did that whole thing. Yeah, that's how that's how the lines were for the McNugget. Because it was like, for 2 years, it was just like everyone heard of it, and you could go to like specific states that had it. And so like it was just sort of those, it almost was like, I'm telling you, lore, dude. Again, I'm telling you, they just didn't miss back then. This just perfect time, this incubation period where it's just like, these things are fire. Did you hear McDonald's has some places that do that? It's on local news. It makes its way around. Neighboring states start to hear about it. Like, it just...
So smart.
Yeah, just brilliant. And it kind of happened just because like it needed to happen.
Right.
And it was just this beautiful serendipity that like what needed to like happen and wait was totally good for their brand and created this hype around it.
Yep.
And yeah, people were lined up. So in 1965, the average American ate 36.6 pounds of chicken.
Okay.
By 2020, our consumption almost tripled to 97.5 pounds a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow, dude.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to say that, but like that's wild.
Yeah. Now let's have some. We're going to talk a little bit dour here.
Okay.
About some points that, and that's something that I realized that this is what this podcast is going to kind of be. I want to talk about food supply. I want to talk about what that looks like. And I want to talk about how just, when things get hyper consumed,
right?
That doesn't just end up on a shelf. And this isn't like, there's no consumer blaming here. You know what? If you're not making good money, whatever, cool. Yeah. Just buy what you can afford. Like, eat what you can get. That is not on the consumer. It's on the manufacturers to like do things properly.
Right.
Which has not been done.
No.
So the increase of the consumption, it definitely, food supply is trying to keep up. And I don't know if you've noticed wings not being available anymore.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And also if you're wondering why wing prices are up, it isn't because of fucking inflation and Biden. Wing prices there has been a wing shortage for literally 3 fucking years.
Oh, wow.
The wing shortage started back in 2019. Wing prices started to go up since 2016.
What?
Yes, because here's why.
I'm listening.
It is way, 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 way easier to essentially, a lot of these chickens, they get fucking pumped full of hormones.
Absolutely.
And what happens is they mature within like 2 weeks. It's fucking...
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. I might have put the actual 6 weeks, sorry. The actual
That's
number is 6 weeks.
still a crazy amount of time, though.
It's still an insane amount of time. And so what happens is that their breasts actually get really, really big. It's very easy to... That's where like all the meat is on a chicken. There's no meat in their wings, in their fucking drumsticks, their thighs. So essentially, they grow so fast that it's very cruel. Like they can't hold their own body weight, things like that.
Oh,
I'm not going to get like super, super gory. It's just like there's a lot of problems with the way being how it works. But chicken breast is super easy to get. Chicken wings and drumsticks, they don't grow like that. So they're limited, and they're limited per chicken. So with chicken breast, you can make any amount of nuggets, chicken patties. You can do anything. But with wings, you're limited. You don't get a big portion, and so there's a shortage on them. And it's been that way for years. Not to go on a little rant, it's just like recently I've just been seeing all this shit about like supply chain and all this infrastructure, this, that, and the other. And it's like, dude, a lot of these things are just creeping around the corner. Like, I've worked in food for a decade. I'm telling you, the shit is on a hinge. Like it is like the entire thing.
Oh, fuck.
Back in 2017, there was a fire that took out a bunch of vanilla farms in South America. A gallon of vanilla was $650.
Oh my gosh.
The place I worked at, they pride themselves, you know what I mean, on good vanilla. And yeah, we ended up having to get imitation because it was costing too much money.
Right, no, absolutely.
To get regular vanilla. Just an insane amount of money. So that shit happens. There was a shortage in 2018. There was a shortage of Ready Whip.
Oh, okay. Would not have expected that.
Because there was an explosion at one of the fucking plants that has the little NO2 cartridges. So NO2 was short, and we couldn't do aerosol cans. I'm telling, the shit's on a hinge at all times.
Yeah, at all times. That's fair. No, I think that's a very fair assessment of.
So that's just something that I wanted to mention is that, like, you know, a lot of this stuff, like, not only are the conditions, the living conditions, not great, but again, it's hanging on, and it's barely hanging on. There's slim profit margins and all this shit. There's not a lot of room to be had here, and so corners get cut. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah.
You know. I don't know how to solve it. I'm not a fucking civil engineer. I don't know the answers, but I know something's fucked up when it's fucked up. So it's fucked up.
Yes, it is.
But you know, bright side, not even really a bright side. You live with that. Own it. Keep that in your brain, people that are listening. Things can be fucked up. It's okay. You don't need a happy side at the end of this.
Not
everything is fucking great.
Not everything is rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah. Because what I'm going to say here is free-range, pasture-raised chickens and hormone-free chickens, yes, those are all more popular products.
Yes.
However, they are not attainable for majority of people. Those are rich people problems. That's people like me who make a decent amount of money to go to a fucking Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and buy this fucking chicken that lived out in a field and got, you know, pats on the head every day. And, you know, had a nickname and everyone loved it. And then it comes to my fucking dinner table because I'm privileged enough to be able to buy that shit. Again, I'm not going to make this to consumer blame. If you need to buy $1 eggs because that's what you can afford, fucking sweet. I can't afford the $6 free range eggs, so I'm going to buy them.
Absolutely.
You know, that's life.
Yeah.
So like sustainable products are popular, but I mean,
also,
it's going to be
a price range.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really, really slow change if we're waiting on consumer impact, essentially.
They're absolutely right about that.
Because
reality.
Here's another little dose of reality I'm dropping on everyone today. Chicken nuggets got really weird and political. I'm sorry about that. Another dose of reality is like a lot of the consumer-based price changes and things like that are mostly only really good when it's an insular thing. So like that's why like you can boycott Lay's. They're not going to lose that much money.
Right.
The way you're impacting them is the fact that a factory is shut down. So it's not the fact that like 80,000 people across the nation are eating Lay's products all of a sudden. It's just the fact that they lost 1,500 people overnight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like insular things impact stuff a lot more than grand overarching things. And so if we're waiting on this, on consumer demand to be like, hey, we want free range, pasture raised chickens only. We want their eggs and we want their meat only. That's going to be
forever.
We're probably going to have a lab grown chicken by then.
No, I agree with that at this point. No, yeah, that's right. That's absolutely what's about to happen.
All right, I'm done. God, I'm so sorry. This is a bummer episode, man.
No.
I'm not funny right now. Just on my high horse, and I apologize. I really do. I hate being ranty and neurotic like that. So Americans eat roughly 2.3 billion servings of chicken a year.
With a B?
With a B. And McDonald's sells, on average, 2,500 pounds of chicken every 2 minutes. And nuggets make up most of that.
I thought you were about to say 2 years. I was like, maybe 2 months.
2,500 pounds.
2 weeks. 2 fucking minutes.
And 120 seconds.
Stop it.
Yep.
They are slanging that chicken.
Yeah, man.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah. So that's kind of chicken nuggets.
That's kind of chicken nugget.
Like it's also McDonald's and Tim's weird political stance on consumerism.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Well, I think it's also a great commentary to your point, just about the 20th century and how the commodification of foods and the processes of foods and shipping has, especially, I would say really more so starting in World War II and all of the, as we've talked about, the different types of food industries that shut down, or if you're Lay's or chips.
If you're the chips
fucking
union.
Open, you assholes. It was for the war.
If you're the chips super pack.
Hell swing, man. Hell swing back in the day. Who would have thought? But like since then,
they did have Capone on their side.
That's what I'm fucking saying. I wouldn't fuck with Al Capone either, man.
Mob in their pocket.
That's how you got business done.
That's how they got it, dude. The entire U.S. Congress was bought out by the chicken mob enterprise.
It makes sense.
Chips mob.
The chips mob. Yeah, that would make sense to me. So yeah, I think that's been a very cool, I guess, progression to see because. As we've covered and we've talked about, some of these foods literally have been around since the Egyptians and the Romans.
Yeah.
And then to your point, literally 50-ish years, 50, 70 years. I can't do math. 67, 80, 90, 100.
200 years.
Oh
70
gosh.
years. Yeah.
70 years of.
No, the 50s were 50 years ago for sure.
Dude, I don't fucking, like what year is it now? I don't know.
Yeah, 70 years.
But yeah, so I just think that's an interesting commentary to kind of.
Yeah.
And we've seen to see.
Right. And we've done a couple of modern, I think poutine was a modern food. Yeah. That was a 70s food. Yeah. But like it was a bit different. That one was more of a meal, you know what I mean? Whereas like nuggets is more of just a food item.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely it definitely is more impacted by like the infrastructure rather than just like restaurants deciding to put shit together.
Like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then to your point, I mean, you said, sorry, I can't get over the fact of how much chicken is being sold essentially like for every 2 minutes. And so then I think about, to your point, like the production and the processes that went into that, how much, you know, like how much chicken is being.
McDonald's is a global company. So, you know, that's not 2,500 pounds every 2 minutes isn't like just an American number. It's a McDonald's number, which it's a global number. It's a very, very, very insane thing.
Like you said, what a supply chain.
Yeah. I mean, it's a modern marvel. It is a fucking marvel. And, you know, and again, in that, not to blame people, it's easy to just not understand and to just kind of, I mean, yeah, you're born and you're raised in a world that just has shit there. You weren't involved in its creation. You weren't around when it got invented. Like you just woke up and, oh shit, McDonald's is a fucking restaurant. Yeah. You know?
Let's go check it out.
You didn't live a life without McDonald's. Why the fuck would you know how McDonald's operates? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You didn't live a life without supermarkets.
Absolutely.
So, like, why would you
even care to know?
Yeah, why would you? It doesn't matter. You don't need to understand supermarkets because they've just been there. But like, no, I've again, someone I've worked in food for a while. The supply chain stuff has just interested me. That's one of the biggest things for sure that has always blown my mind. Every place I've ever worked at, and I'm just like, this is so much food. And again, I'm one dude working at one place.
Right. For how overall consistent the global food supply chain can be for, of course, higher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Even now.
It's wild.
Like, again, all these issues that you're seeing, like, dude, it's mind-blowing that the fucking supermarkets aren't just shut down.
Yeah.
Trust me, the place I work at, we have been affected by supply chain issues. The stores I shop at have been affected by supply chain issues. You're still eating far better than any other generation in any other era at any other moment in human history. Just sit on it a little bit. You know what I mean? Just sit on it a little bit and realize how fucking impeccable it is.
Yeah.
That you're putting salt on something that wasn't available like 700-800 years ago.
It's true. No, it's true. Absolutely. We take it all for granted.
Again, I'm sorry I'm so ranty tonight. I'm so ranty tonight.
Tim, get down from your box.
Jesus, fuck. All right. Welcome to the end of the podcast. That was weird as food. Jesus, that was weird as chicken nuggets. What's the outro? I don't even know what the outro is.
My thing is, what I grade it, like a 90?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we do here.
I got you. We're there. Let's go smooth transition.
Yeah, you were at a 90. If you can make it through that haberdash of shitty information that I gave you, were you raising it? You lowering it?
You know what? I kind of want to raise it to like 100.
Okay.
I'm giving props to Mr. Baker.
Yeah.
He's impressive in and of himself.
I'll do just a quick recap since I went off on my whole thing. Baker in 63 did a bunch of things. He essentially wanted to make chicken mass producible, and he achieved it. And he did a lot with that.
He could have been really greedy.
the host typically doesn't do their score, but I'll go ahead and say that like chicken nuggets isn't a perfect food for me, but I'll go 120. Just because anytime that I get to read about like World War II, Prohibition, World War I, anytime I get to read about these weird little like mandates and decrees and laws and like all this shit that just gets passed by an actual Congress. It's amazing. It's amazing to me.
That was very interesting.
That blows my mind. That the fact that they passed a thing in 42, and then by 43 they just had they had most of Americans shopping and bartering fucking coupons. Yep. Government official food coupons.
That would never happen today.
That's
in that scale.
That's fucking nuts.
91% of the population. Yeah.
That is fucking that's fucking nuts. So like for me, I kind of came to chicken nuggets, honestly, kind of lower. I was kind of about halfway. Yeah. Because, like, chicken nuggets are great. I do like them. I don't eat them a lot. So, for me, I was like, well, I don't eat them a lot, so that's why they're going to be lower. But after kind of, like, learning, like, first of all, they're incredibly modern. Secondly, again, anytime I get to read about food rations and I'm not going to say the willingness of the American people because, of course, there was civil unrest and no time period is, avoidant of just a general like public discussion on what we approve of the government, what we don't approve of the government. I mean, for goodness sakes, Carter was president and we hated him during that time, and there were gas shortages and all that. And then it's like Jimmy Carter's just this lovely old man just trying his best. He wasn't that old of a man back then, but you know what I mean? Like, no. So, I mean, of course, there's always like discourse and civil unrest and all that shit. But so, yeah, up to 100. We went up.
Yeah. I'm sold on chicken nuggets.
All right, guys. That was Where Does Food. You can find us. We're out there. We're doing things. You can find us on Twitter.
The bird up.
I am at Tim Wehunt.
I am at El Chapo.
There's underscores in there. Just figure it out.
Yeah, you got it. You can know how to use Twitter.
Yeah, all of our stuff is in the description. So if you are super confused, you can just look it up there. Also, our actual page is at Where Does Food. You can check us out on anchor.fm/where-does-food. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple.
What?
We're out there. We're distributed. Yeah, so we're out there. Also through Anchor, if you actually go to our Anchor page, you can subscribe to some bonus content.
What? That's fun.
Yeah, it's a good way to support us. It's a good way to get some bonus episodes, 1 to 2 a month. We crank them out.
Pretty good.
We do
solid.
Yeah, we do solid. You also get ad-free episodes on there. So if you're really feeling it, if you just fucking hate ads, you don't want to hear me do an ad read, it's up there.
We do great ad reads.
Yeah, they release the exact same day. So, you're not missing a beat. So, yeah,
that's a good deal, frankly.
There. Great deal.
Yeah.
We also have a website, wheredoesfood.com. It's just another way to listen to.
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah. It's got a little info blurb about who we are, how we met, and what we do, but we're nobodies, so who cares? Oh man, is that it?
Man, that's it. You hit the socials and the link and
all right.
Score, man. That's it. Yeah.
Shit, yeah, buddy. That's great. Guys, remember, enjoy the fact that you get salt.
Yes.
Enjoy the fact that you get pepper.
Yes.
And please understand that your entire world and existence is not only prefabricated and you are primed from the moment that you breathe. The food supply chain is just fucking wildly impressive. And on that, have a good one.